And so as a quick story to this, I could have done, and this is why tax shelters diminish your life, I could have done an intentionally defective grantor trust, which is a fancy thing that basically functions like a waterfall of trusts where for every $5 million of a sale that you're going to receive, you put it into a trust. And the reason it's $5 million is because that's below the limit. And you have to wait 3 years before you can touch the money, because that's after the trust passes the statute of limitations on trust being unwound by the IRS. And you're like, wow, Alex, how do you know this? Because I've looked into this stuff, right? And I could have saved myself about $6 million in taxes, right? Roughly, if I had done this, right? I think it might have been more than that, but whatever, roughly. But for what, right? To save more money that I don't need, and now to needlessly give myself something to worry about because I can't touch the money and I have to follow these stipulations. And if for some reason something happens, then I have the IRS on my back and then get audited, right? And that little story that I told you earlier about the captive, that relative of mine, they ended up getting audited. And even if they do win, what a headache. Just to save like 4%, like who cares, right? Just go and make that much more money without having the stress of a darn audit. And if they do lose, now they're literally gonna have lost all the discovery time, all the upkeep time, all the conversion time, all the effort that goes into it. They'll have to pay the fines, and then they'll have to pay the cost of unwinding the darn thing, right? And all of the attention that all of that took, they could have been spending on increasing the value of the thing that actually compounds tax-free, which is their business. Crazy. All right. Okay. So I didn't do the intentionally grantor trust, and I just paid the darn taxes. Which brings me to point number 4, which is that tax shelters don't make you a better person. All right. So I only have 2 main points on this, and I will drive these home, because I think these are, like, as we've gone down these points, they become increasingly meaningful for me of actually how I make decisions. And so these are the only 2 things that I've really made the decision with, which is number 1 is reputational risk. I believe that I will be a billionaire at some point before I die. At this point, we have about $100 million net worth between my wife and I. And I'm 32, she's 29. And so, like, if we just get 10% a year, like, we will hit it. And that's if we don't make any income and we don't grow businesses, which that would drive me nuts. And so we will be doing that. So I think that at some point we will do that, but who knows? By then, maybe billionaires, everybody will be a billionaire, and an Apple will cost $1 million. Who knows? But the point is that I would never want to become a billionaire and then have everyone say he did it and escaped taxes. I just don't want that brand. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I don't think there's actually anything wrong with that if you did it legally, right? But I would just prefer to be known as the person who paid his dues and still killed it. That's just me. That's a personal preference. That's a reputational risk for me, right? And I've said this quote before on this channel, but I'll say it again. Like, you only get one name, and you have to keep it for the rest of your life, right? And so it's like investing in accordingly. I can't imagine, like, that at that point in my life, if I were, worth 2 billion or 3 billion, and I could have been worth, remember guys, like, if you're saving 30%, right, on your taxes, it's only going to increase your net worth by that percentage. Like, think about it. So it's like, if you're worth 10 million and you had saved 30% on your taxes, you'd only be worth 30% more than that. So it'd be like 13 million, right? Like, and just think about it like that. It's like, so it's not like this crazy, like, it's just that. That's all it is, right? So number 1 is reputational risk. And for me, I don't think I would ever sacrifice my reputation for that marginal gain. All right. Number 2, 85-year-old self-test. And this is my number 1 most tweeted tweet, which is, when I was 20, I wanted to be a millionaire. Now that I'm a millionaire, I want to be 20. And I overheard a version of this, which makes me realize that when I'm 40, I'd rather just be 32, my age, with nothing, just to be 32 again, which is a different frame on gratitude that I thought I'd share, which brings me to my 85-year-old self-test, which, by the way, is probably the most useful decision-making frame I have ever made, and is probably the thing that I use the most